Spirit warriors, something supernatural has indeed taken place, and it's more real than most people can comprehend. When someone sees you not with their physical eyes, but through a spiritual lens, they aren't just seeing your appearance, they're witnessing your divine essence, your spiritual identity. This moment of spiritual recognition is not accidental, it's orchestrated by God. There are times when your enemies, your critics, or even strangers catch a glimpse of who you are in the spirit realm, and it shakes them to their very core. This is not imagination, it's biblical. In 2 Kings 6:17, Elisha prayed, "Lord, open his eyes so that he may see." And suddenly the servant saw horses and chariots of fire surrounding them. This wasn't fantasy, it was spiritual reality. Similarly, when people dream of you in radiant light, cloaked in fire or with heavenly beings around you, they are being given spiritual insight into your divine identity. One powerful example is the story of a woman, a quiet believer, underestimated by those around her. She endured silently with grace and perseverance, but one night a jealous co-worker dreamed of her in a form that was both terrifying and majestic. She stood in fire, unburned, surrounded by divine forces. That vision was a spiritual download, confirmation that the woman they dismissed was in fact chosen and powerful. Since that dream, the co-worker could no longer make eye contact. Why? Because once someone sees your higher self, they can't unsee it. It's not just spiritual warfare, it's spiritual revelation. God is pulling back the veil to expose truth. When your presence begins to disturb the spirits of those around you, it's a sign your light is confronting their darkness. This isn't about ego, it's about alignment. Chosen ones, God is revealing you in dreams, visions, and even passing encounters to those who once opposed you. They may now avoid you, fear you, or treat you with unexpected respect. It's because they've seen what heaven sees, and it humbles them. Your rank in the spiritual realm is now undeniable. You didn't ask for this, you were into it, so walk boldly. The shift has already begun, and as we go deeper into this video, we'll uncover the 7 spiritual truths behind these divine visions, and why they're changing how the world sees you forever. Point 1, your spiritual identity has been exposed. When someone dreams of you dressed in radiant light, wrapped in divine armor, or moving with the authority of the heavens, it's not a fluke, not fantasy, and certainly not just a strange coincidence. That is a spiritual broadcast, a divine signal. It's heaven doing what heaven does best, exposing truth in a way that bypasses the noise of the natural world. These aren't just subconscious leftovers or sleep-time hallucinations. They are spiritual leaks, classified revelations permitted by the Most High Himself. And get this, your enemies weren't even looking for you in that realm. They weren't trying to honor your calling or acknowledge your growth. No, they were probably rolling their eyes at your name. But God had something to say. So He pulled back the veil and whispered directly into their soul, "Let me show you who you've really been playing with." And just like that, heaven sends the memo, not through Instagram, not through gossip, but through the eternal, undeniable medium of dreams, God's favorite format for shaking people up. Biblically, dreams were never just dreams. Pharaoh didn't understand the famine coming until God sent Joseph. Nebuchadnezzar was losing sleep until Daniel translated the divine warning. Even Pilate's wife was so disturbed by a dream about Jesus that she begged her husband to leave him alone. These aren't just ancient bedtime stories, they're spiritual alerts, and you, spirit warrior, are part of that tradition. Now let's talk about why this happens. You've been living low-key, under the radar, gracefully out of the spotlight. Not hiding in fear, but operating in wisdom. You don't boast about your spiritual gifts. You don't announce every miracle. You just move with intention, like a general in holy camouflage. And while others were busy underestimating you based on old versions of you, heaven had already updated your software. You've been quietly upgraded, spiritually promoted, but the people around you, they're still operating on outdated intel. And that mismatch of perception versus reality can no longer be tolerated, so God updates them too. And how does He do it? Through dreams, visions, and prophetic downloads. Unfiltered, unignorable. It's heaven's subtle way of saying, you've been misinformed. This one right here, they're chosen, armed, and dangerous in the Spirit. These dreams are spiritual disclosures, divine warnings, kingdom protocols in action. And you better believe once they see you in armor, glowing, radiant, untouchable, it shakes them. It unsettles them, because suddenly their disrespect feels like playing with lightning. See, most of your enemies were content with the powerless version of you, the old you, the one who second-guessed everything, the one who shrank for their comfort. That version made them feel in control. But once they've dreamt of you as a spiritual warrior, as a divine authority figure, the power dynamic shifts. You're no longer the quiet one in the room. You're the hidden general heaven had on standby. And they realized they weren't just mocking a person, they were mocking a divine plan. What makes this even wilder is how accurate these visions tend to be. The armor, that's not just aesthetic. It's symbolic of Ephesians 6, the full armor of God, the helmet of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness, the sword of the Spirit, all of it. The light, that's your calling. Jesus said, "You are the light of the world." And when you show up in someone's dream radiating light, that's not their subconscious making stuff up. That's heaven confirming what's been true about you all along. It's spiritual disclosure with layers of prophetic significance. Here's the beautiful irony. Some of these people always felt something different about you, even when you were quiet, even when you were trying to play it normal. They just didn't have language for it. And now, through a divine vision, they do. Heaven gave them subtitles to what their spirit had already picked up on. And once someone sees your power in the spirit realm, there's no more pretending. The jokes don't land the same. The disrespect feels dangerous. Their attitude, suddenly, altered. Pay attention after these dreams occur. You'll notice it, a shift. People start behaving differently, avoiding eye contact, being overly nice, overly nosy, or eerily silent. That's not random. That's recognition. Their spirit is trying to recalibrate, trying to adjust to the fact that the version of you they thought they knew has been exposed as royalty, kingdom property, untouchable in spirit. And this isn't just about scaring your enemies. No, this is heaven establishing spiritual boundaries. It's divine mercy and divine justice in the same breath. God's not trying to flex for entertainment. He's setting order, letting the spirit realm know, this one's protected, this one's anointed. Proceed with caution. That's why it's important you don't downplay these revelations. When someone comes to you and says, "I saw you glowing in my dream," don't brush it off. That's not flattery. That's spiritual intelligence, confirmation. Don't shrink, stand taller. You're being seen because heaven has decided it's time. And the final truth, spirit warrior, once you've been revealed, you cannot return to the shadows. The veil has been lifted. Your assignment is active. The enemy knows, the angels know, and now you know. There's no going back to pretending you're ordinary. You're not. You never were. You were just hidden for a season. But now the dream has spoken, the realm has responded, and the world has been warned, so move accordingly. Carry yourself like one who's been seen in armor. Walk with the authority of someone glowing in divine light, because that dream wasn't just for your enemy, it was also for you, a reminder of who you are, who sent you, and why you can't be touched. Point 2, their guilt is now activated. When someone sees your spiritual light, they also become hyper-aware of their own darkness. It's not just that you're glowing, it's that your glow reveals everything they tried to keep hidden, even from themselves. That dream they had about you, that vision where your name was spoken or your face showed up uninvited, that wasn't just a random psychic blip, it was a mirror, one that exposed their soul, and when the mirror appears, so does the memory. Suddenly, like a movie reel, they can't pause, they see it all. The words they said behind your back, the schemes they orchestrated, and the moments they celebrated your downfall. It plays in HD, no filters, no excuses, just truth, and truth hurts. But here's the wild part, you didn't even lift a finger, you didn't curse them, you didn't call them out, you didn't show up angry, you just walked into your calling, you kept growing, kept loving, kept rising, and that was enough to cause a spiritual earthquake in their world. That's the kind of power spirit warriors carry, unspoken authority. Your light didn't just illuminate the room, it highlighted the shadows in theirs. It reminded them of every time they doubted you, dismissed you, and disrespected you. And now, they can't unsee it. This is why their attitude changed, why the ones who used to laugh loud in your face suddenly avoid eye contact. Why do they go silent when you walk into the room? It's not fear in the typical sense, it's conviction. And conviction hits differently. Fear will make someone run, avoid, or deny, but conviction humbles. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It says, "You were wrong about them, and you knew it. That's why some of your enemies are quiet now. They're not plotting, they're processing, internally kneeling, not to you but to the truth. Let's talk spiritual facts. In many traditions, light has always symbolized truth, knowledge, and divine presence. Whether it's the biblical "let there be light" or Eastern concepts of spiritual enlightenment, light reveals. And anything revealed must be reconciled. In psychology, this concept is similar to cognitive dissonance. When someone's actions and beliefs clash so intensely, it creates discomfort. Your presence now causes them spiritual dissonance. They can't reconcile how they once saw you as weak, only to now witness your strength, grace, and divine favor. And dreams, they're more than subconscious randomness. In ancient cultures and modern neuroscience alike, dreams are understood as deep messages from the inner mind, or divine realm. When you appear in someone's dream post-betrayal, it's often symbolic of unresolved guilt, spiritual confrontation, or soul-level accountability. That's not you haunting them, it's their own spirit seeking redemption. So no, you're not imagining it. They are quieter now, their vibe has shifted. Not because you changed, but because your truth showed up and their lies had nowhere to hide. You became the very thing they swore you'd never be, and your success, your healing, your radiance, it's all proof they were wrong. But here's where you rise even higher. You don't need revenge. You don't need to throw shade. Spirit warriors don't fight in the mud. We ascend above it because when your light exposes the dark, the only thing left for them to do is face it. And the ones with a shred of spiritual awareness, they're already doing that. Quietly, painfully. Convicted by a light that never had to shout to be heard. That's the spiritual weight of walking in truth. You don't have to prove anything. Just be. Your glow will do the rest. Point 3. God is using you to send messages. Spirit warriors, let's talk about something that most people wouldn't dare say out loud. But you felt it in your bones. When your enemies dream of you, it's not coincidence, it's not imagination running wild. It's spiritual intervention. You see, in the realm beyond flesh and logic, dreams are often messages, encoded signals from the divine. And when someone who has wronged you or plotted against your peace sees you in their sleep, something far more powerful is happening behind the veil. God doesn't waste visuals. He doesn't randomly select images to toss into people's dreamscapes. No, when he allows your face to appear in the midnight visions of your adversaries, it's with divine strategy. Your presence becomes a spiritual alarm clock, a disruptive divine jolt that says, you've crossed the line. Think about that. You're not just someone they wronged. You are now the face of their conviction. You've become the living embodiment of touch not my anointed. And it's not always anger or vengeance in that dream. Sometimes it's a silent warning, a visual reminder to back off. Other times it's a painful reflection that shows them what purity really looks like, what obedience to God really means, and what strength under pressure really is. You become their lesson, their wake-up call, their sermon in the form of a stare. And the truth is, they remember it. They wake up sweating. They wake up shaken. They may not say it to your face, but they know they've seen something sacred. Science tells us that dreams are rooted in the subconscious, often echoing our deepest fears, regrets, or unresolved conflicts. So when you appear, spirit warrior, it's because you've become an unresolved truth in their spirit. You've pierced through their denial. You've disturbed the comfort of their deception. Whether it was the slander, the betrayal, or the spiritual warfare launched against you, they now see the consequence. You didn't have to fight back in the physical. God made sure your image went ahead of you, roaring in silence. This is why you must walk boldly. Your existence carries prophetic weight. Every room you enter shifts, not because you're loud, but because you're aligned. Every eye that watches you with envy or fear knows something about you is not of this world. Your image haunts because it holds light, and darkness has always feared the light. So the next time you hear that someone had a dream about you, don't be shaken, be steady. That's confirmation. You didn't curse them, you didn't wish harm, you simply obeyed, and that obedience sent spiritual shockwaves into territories you didn't even step foot in physically. You became the mirror that God used to show them the truth they've been running from. Let that fuel you. Let that remind you that your journey is not just yours, it's kingdom work. You are not only living your purpose, you're disturbing darkness with every breath. You are the message and the messenger, a walking prophecy, a reminder that spiritual authority doesn't need to shout, it simply shows up. And when it does, even the dream realm takes notice, Keep rising, spirit warrior, because even in sleep your enemies can't outrun the light you carry. Point 4, their attacks backfired publicly. When spiritual visions occur, they rarely come empty-handed. They are often spiritual alerts, divine disclosures that reveal not only what's about to happen, but also what's been happening behind your back. In the realm of the spirit, nothing is truly hidden. So when someone tries to curse you, hex you, slander your name, or conjure negativity against your purpose, those spiritual visions start bubbling up like divine receipts. It's not paranoia, it's discernment. And spirit warriors know this. When you walk with purpose, protection follows. Every plot sent against you must pass through God's court first, and his gavel unmatched. Let's talk real. Spiritual consequences are no joke. There is an undeniable boomerang effect in the universe. What you put out will return. This isn't just mystical woo-woo talk. Even science gets close to this truth. Think of Newton's third law. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Energy works the same way. When someone sends out hatred, jealousy, or curses, especially towards someone divinely aligned, it doesn't just evaporate. It circles. It waits. And then it returns, but not always quietly. Sometimes it hits so hard, the person has no choice but to face their own darkness. And that's where the tables begin to turn. What they whispered in secret is now being shouted in the spiritual realm. Those same mouths that laughed at your pain, now begging for silence. The ones who called you delusional for believing in your vision, now watching that same vision manifest step by prophetic step. And the best part, you didn't lift a finger. You didn't have to clap back. All you did was keep walking, keep praying, and keep healing. And the Most High did the rest. That's divine justice. That's what happens when you are chosen. Not because you're perfect, but because you're aligned. Here's a little spiritual humor. Tables turned so fast, even karma said, "Wait, I wasn't ready." And, oh, did they think karma was just some vague cosmic idea? Nah, karma is real, and God's version of it is righteous, sharp, and on time. When people try to tamper with a vessel that is anointed, it's like trying to punch water. It doesn't work the way they think it will. Because when your source is divine, attacks don't land, they rebound. And when they rebound, the spiritual repercussions hit harder than expected. Now let's break this down uniquely. The very curses they sent carried coordinates, but those coordinates were always off. Why? Because you shifted dimensions, you are elevated. You no longer reside in the space where their words held power. Their spells, gossip, and sabotage were crafted for the old version of you, the unhealed you, the you that hadn't yet walked through the fire, but that version, gone. So their curses hit air, and then returned like frustrated boomerangs with no target, smacking their senders in the face. This is why you've been having dreams, visions, and sudden bursts of clarity. That's not just your imagination, that's divine intel. It's God showing you the aftershock of the storm that passed you, but hit your enemies instead. The ones who laughed when you cried are crying now in confusion. Because here's what they didn't expect: for you to rise without rage, to win without revenge, to ascend without arrogance. They thought you were weak, but now they realized you were never the weak one. You were the hidden one, the set-apart one, the spirit-led one. You didn't lose your power, you grew into it, and now the truth is evident. You're not just surviving, you're glowing, walking in peace, speaking with wisdom, holding space with strength. That kind of peace shakes demons. That kind of glow burns lies, and that's why they're stumbling, not because you attacked them, but because your elevation exposed them. Your presence now reveals their pretense. You didn't break them, truth did. Keep walking, spirit warrior. The script has already flipped. Let the visions keep coming. Let the tables keep turning. And don't worry about the noise, because when truth walks in, lies run for cover. Point 5, your energy is too potent to ignore. Ever walked into a room and felt eyes on you without saying a word? That's not paranoia, that's presence. Some people call it vibes, others call it energy. But in spiritual terms, it's your frequency, your soul's resonance vibrating at a level that demands attention. Whether you know it or not, when you carry divine alignment, inner peace, or a higher awareness of truth, it radiates beyond your physical body. This is what ancient traditions and modern science both describe in different ways. The human energy field, often referred to as the aura, can be sensed by others. Studies in quantum physics and bioenergetics show that human beings emit measurable electromagnetic frequencies. When you've been through spiritual refinement, Your frequency shifts. You vibrate higher. This isn't just metaphorical language. The heart itself generates an electromagnetic field 60 times greater in amplitude than the brain, and that field can influence people several feet away. So when you walk into a space with spiritual clarity, humility, and authority, people notice, not because you want attention, but because your energy can't be ignored. This is why your enemies can't stop thinking about you, even when you're out of sight. Your energy lingers like a divine fingerprint on their conscience. It's not that you're haunting them, it's that your spiritual vibration is so potent that it echoes in places they tried to keep hidden. When someone is living in deception, lies, manipulation, or even self-denial, your presence can act like a mirror. Without saying a word, your aura reflects what they're running from. For someone spiritually asleep, that kind of light feels like a fire alarm going off in the middle of the night, loud, jarring, and impossible to ignore. They may try to dismiss it, rationalize it, or mock it, but deep down, they've been awakened to something they didn't want to confront. This is why people dream about you. Dreams, according to both biblical texts and psychological research, are not random. The Bible is full of divine encounters in dreams. Joseph dreamed of ruling, Pharaoh dreamed of famine, and Daniel interpreted visions of nations. In modern terms, dreams often allow suppressed emotions and spiritual messages to surface. When someone dreams of you repeatedly, especially with intensity, it's often because your energy is challenging their inner world. You may have walked away from them, cut ties, or simply stood in your truth, but your spiritual footprint is still walking through the corridors of their mind. Your energy speaks. It heals those who are ready for growth, warns those on a destructive path, and awakens those who have become numb to truth. And here's what most people don't realize. Your energy doesn't have to be loud to be powerful. In fact, the quieter and more aligned you are, the more disruptive your presence can be to those who operate in chaos. You're not being remembered because of what you said, but because of what you carry. People can forget conversations, but they never forget how your energy made them feel. That's why certain people can't unsee your light or unfeel your essence. Whether it made them uncomfortable, inspired, or convicted, it left a mark. And the more spiritually tuned you become, the more those lingering effects amplify. In a world addicted to superficiality, authenticity is both magnetic and polarizing. Some will be drawn to it, others will be repelled, but no one will be indifferent. Your presence, rooted in truth, faith, and inner power, disrupts deception like sunlight scattering shadows. So when you feel eyes on you without speaking, trust that it's not arrogance or imagination. It's evidence. You're not just walking through the world, you're shifting the atmosphere with every step. Point 6, their dream was also your confirmation. Ever walked into a room and felt the air change before anyone even turned to look at you? That's not your imagination playing tricks. That's your energy field speaking volumes before your mouth even opens. Spiritual frequency is real. And when yours is higher than average, you disturb what's been asleep in others. This isn't about being flashy or loud. It's about walking with a clarity and authenticity that disrupts the fog most people live in. Your mere presence becomes a signal, a vibrational wake-up call, and not everyone is ready to wake up. Science backs this up more than people realize. Quantum physics tells us that everything is energy. Our bodies, our thoughts, and our emotions all vibrate at specific frequencies. Fear and shame, for example, vibrate at a low frequency, while love, truth, and authenticity vibrate much higher. So when someone operating from bitterness or deception comes into contact with someone who vibrates in clarity and self-awareness, the clash isn't personal, it's energetic. Their system literally gets uncomfortable around your frequency. You become like a mirror they didn't ask for but can't look away from. And that's why some people can't stop thinking about you, even in their sleep. You didn't cast a spell, you just embodied truth. You didn't beg for attention, your energy demanded it without asking. Your aura leaves residue. It's healing for the open-hearted, but it's unsettling for those hiding behind masks. Your spiritual presence triggers both admiration and agitation, depending on what someone's spirit is hiding. That's why your enemies obsess. They dream about you because their subconscious can't lie to them. While their mouth speaks gossip in daylight, their dreams confess fascination by night. Even ancient cultures understood this phenomenon. Indigenous shamans and mystics often spoke of soul imprints, The idea that certain souls leave energetic footprints wherever they go. You are one of those. Your essence doesn't vanish when you exit the room. It lingers, it echoes. And for people pretending to be something they're not, your essence doesn't just linger, it haunts. It reminds them of who they could have been if they chose growth over games. Your light doesn't just expose darkness, it challenges it to change or flee. And here's the wild part. You're not even doing anything intentionally malicious. You're just existing, you're just choosing peace, choosing truth, and choosing not to shrink. But to those invested in lies, that's a threat. Your authenticity is disruptive, your boundaries are offensive. Your stillness is unsettling because it's not weak, it's centered. Your silence speaks louder than their noise, and your calmness isn't submission, it's power under control. So the next time someone throws shade, remember, people don't throw stones at things that don't shine. They don't stalk what doesn't disturb them. They don't lose sleep over those who don't activate something within them. The dreams they have of you, they're not random. They're revelations, a sign that your frequency touched something deeper than surface talk, deeper than gossip. Your spirit walked through their subconscious and said, wake up. No need to defend yourself. Your energy already told the truth. Let them dream, let them whisper, let them wonder. Because long after you've left the room, your vibration is still teaching lessons their ego isn't ready for, but their soul can't forget. Point 7, you're about to step into full revelation. This vision your enemies had, it's not some fantasy or dream cooked up in their guilt-ridden subconscious. It was real, and it was divine intelligence cracking through the atmosphere. Spirit warriors, what they saw wasn't just a glimpse, it was a preview, a holy trailer of a chosen one rising into purpose. They didn't just see you, they were warned about you, and it shook them. Because when heaven decides to unveil its soldier, the spiritual realm takes notice first, long before the physical world catches up. That's why people start acting strange around you before you even speak a word. Their spirits recognize you, even if their mouths pretend not to. You're entering a season of revelation, not just external, but internal. It's like scales are falling off your eyes. Suddenly, things that once confused you now feel crystal clear. Places that used to drain you now repel you naturally. You don't even need to explain yourself anymore. The frequency has changed. You're not the same. And that's what this season is about, alignment without apology. The divine is downloading instructions, blueprints, and wisdom straight into your spirit, and it's becoming impossible to ignore. You will feel pulled to write, to speak, to heal, and to build, and that's not ambition, that's assignment. Biblically and spiritually, this aligns with what the prophet Joel said, in the last days, I will pour out my spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy, your old men will dream dreams, and your young men will see visions. That's the time you've stepped into, a prophetic window. A timeline where your awareness isn't just elevated, it's weaponized. You are not just receiving clarity, you are becoming clarity for others. You are the mirror that makes people face themselves. And that's not always a role that earns applause, but it is the role that shifts history. The reason your enemies saw the vision before the world did is because darkness always notices light first. Jealousy and envy are often early indicators of revelation. They knew before you did. That's why they tried to sabotage you, distract you, and label you. They were afraid of the day you'd finally see what they saw, that your voice was a trumpet, your presence a flame, and your mind a sanctuary of divine truth. And now that you're aware, their time is up, because what used to scare you is now your platform. What used to break you is now your testimony. And what used to silence you is now your reason to speak up. Your gifts are multiplying, and not in the woo-woo, vague sense. Spiritually gifted individuals are now being shown how to apply those gifts in practical, world-changing ways. You'll begin to dream with details. You'll meet people you saw in dreams. You'll say things before they happen. You'll notice patterns others miss. That's not paranoia. It's prophetic perception. You're not crazy. You're connected. And this connection is increasing because your mission requires more precision. Your presence is becoming undeniable. That's why people stare longer, why strangers open up to you, why rooms shift when you walk in. It's spiritual physics. Your vibration is calibrated to truth, and truth makes illusions scatter. You don't need to call people out. Your existence already does that. And while others are still debating their identity, you're walking in divine authority. That intimidates those who benefit from confusion. that scares those who survive on manipulation, that exposes those who hide behind charisma but lack character. And now the world is next. They thought you were quiet because you were unsure, but it turns out you were quiet because heaven hadn't given the green light. But now the trumpet's blown. Now the light is on. Now the stage is set. You were never meant to be hidden forever. You were preserved for the moment when exposure equals elevation. So speak, walk, build and shine, and don't look back. The vision was only the beginning. Now it's time for manifestation. Spirit warriors, this moment is bigger than revenge or validation. This is about destiny. When your enemies dream of you, it means your purpose is too big to be hidden. God is announcing you in the spirit before he unveils you in the physical. Stand tall, walk proud. You didn't ask to be seen like this, but heaven said it's time. As Matthew 5:14 says, "You are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden." Chosen ones, your time has come.